Number 1. Define aquaculture. Aquaculture is a farming of aquatic organisms including fish, mollusks, crustaceans, and aquatic plants. Farming implies some form of intervention in the rearing process to enhance production, such as regular stocking, feeding, protection from predators, and etc. Aquaculture is the science of farming fish or marine life to provide a sustainable food supplies for a growing population on the earth. We need to boost the supply of food, particularly protein. Number 2 is compare farming the water to farming the land. Aquaculture or farming in water is the aquatic equivalent of agriculture or farming on land. Defined broadly, agriculture includes farming both animals, husbandry, and plants agronomy, horticulture, and forest in parts. Similarly, aquaculture covers the farming of both animals including crustaceans, finfish, and mollusks, and plants, including seaweeds and freshwater microphytes. While agriculture is predominantly based use of freshwater, aquaculture occurred in the both inland freshwater and coastal brackish water seawater areas. Number 3 is the different explain the difference between phytoplankton and zooplankton. Phytoplankton are the aquatic plant and produce energy. They have the capability to convert solar energy and chemical energy, while the zooplankton are the sea animals and they can feed on phytoplankton. Phytoplankton are the plants while zooplanktons are animals. In this a main difference between them, larval crustaceans, squills are example of zooplanktons. Algae and diatoms are example of phytoplanktons. Phytoplanktons produce food via photosynthesis, whereas zooplanktons must be eat food. Number 4. Explain the differences between mollusks and crustaceans. Between both of these, vertebrates is their group from they belong to. This is a crustacean which belong to the phylum that's known as the arthropoda. In contrast, the mollusks themselves are considered as a major phylum. Crustaceans are aquatic animals that have jointed legs, hard shells, and no bones, such as crab, crayfish, lobster, prawns, and shrimp. Most mollusks have hind two parts shells and include clams, mussels, oysters, and scallops, as well as various types of octopus, snails, and squid. Number 5 is using specific plants and animals describe a polyculture system. Polyculture is a practice of growing more than one crop species in the same space at the same time. Polyculture is the opposite of monoculture, in which only one plant or animal species is cultivated together. Polyculture can be improved control of some pests, weeds, and diseases while reducing the needs for pesticides. Number 6 is, in what way do aquatic animals save energy compared to terrestrial animals? Terrestrial animals, land-based animals including mammals and reptiles, can be in water and some utilize it, it as a way to hunt but do not need to live in water, like a dog, cat, human, snake, aquatal animals. Water-based animals including fish and some mammals require living in water to survive, like a whale, dolphins, shark, freshwater fish like trout. Number 7 is identify 6 factors to consider in selecting a species for possible aquaculture. Cite some local example of species in Aurora. First one is The sixth factor is first one, desirable characteristic of aquaculture organism. It is fast growth, short food chain, efficient conversion of food ready competence of compounded feeds, good table quality, disease resistant, easy to breed, incapability, early maturation, high fecundity, tolerance to a wide range of environmental parameters, and etc. Pangalawa is commonly cultured organism. It is a fish, crustacean, and mollusks, other cultured organisms, seaweeds, frogs, crocodiles, and turtles. Pangatlo is a biological feature of commonly cultured fishes is fishes, crustacean, and mollusks. It is a tolerance limit of salinity, temperature, and oxygen tension, growth rates of a yield in different types of culture, breeding habits, feeding habits, and geographic distribution. Pang-apat is critical for selection of species for culture. Objectives of cultures, geographic and climate consideration, cultures, qualities of organism, consumer acceptance, and marketability, cost of production, domestic consumption versus export. Panglima is indigenous versus exotic species. It's a condition for introduction of exotic species or strain produces for deciding on extraction, introduction, and transplantation. Last is a selection of strain of cultivated species for favorable characters. It is a growth, food, conversion, shape, and body conformation, resistant to diseases, tolerance of wild fluctuations in environmental factors, meat of quality, and etc. Use of hybridization techniques for obtaining superior strain and monosex progeny. Number 8 is give example of how morphology can affect the culture techniques and aquaculture tourism choices. Under suitable conditions, the shape and size of microbes are relatively stable. It is important to know the morphological structure of microbes as it provides use with a better understanding of microbial psychology, pathogenic mechanisms, antigenic feature, and allows us to identify them by species. Number 9 is this briefly describe how gills work. Gills are branching organs located at the side of fish head and have many small blood cells called capillaries. As the fish often eat mouths, water runs over the gills, and blood in the capillaries pick up oxygen that's dissolved in the water. Number 10. Define marketing and describe the marketing plan. A marketing plan is a document that defines the marketing strategy for a company in order to reach their targeted audience and to track their marketing strategies over the period of time. The marketing plan will help determine who target market is, how best to reach them at the right point at the product service should be sold and how the company will measure its effort. Number 11, based on the state of the world in the aquaculture 2022, pass. Number 12, walang answer sa 11. Explain the concept of blue revolution, cite some example and your thoughts about its pros and cons. The blue revolution with its multidimensional activities focuses mainly on increasing fisheries, production and productivity from aquaculture and fisheries resources, both island and marine. The blue revolution refers to the significant growth and intensification of global aquaculture production, domestication of farming of fish, shellfish, and aquatic plants from the middle of the 20th 20th century to present, particularly in underdeveloped countries. Number 13, explain the difference between intensive, semi-intensive, and intensive culture system. Extensive system use low stocking density and no supplemental feeding, although fertilizer may be done to stimulate the growth and production of natural food in the water. Semi-intensive farming system account for about 70% of fish and crustacean aquaculture production in the tropics. Employing semi-intensive feeding method range from the use of low-cost pound fertilization techniques to high-cost complete diet feed strategies. Intensive 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 cultures uses very high densities of a culture organism, and it's totally dependent on artificial formulated feeds. Both system use a small pound compartment of the of up to the one of the size of easier to management. Number 14. Explain the difference between static open, semi-closed, and recirculating closed system. Make a SWOT and analysis about each topic. Number 15. Explain the requirements of sustainable aquaculture species. Species swim near the surface of edge of are ideal as a species that can be readily trained to feed at the particular area. Species that are very flighty or secretive are usually less suitable for aquaculture. Number 16. Explain the critical considerations in terms of site selection and development of fish pond. In site selection for pond, the ecological factor to be considered include soil, water, topography, and climate. The soil quality influence the pond's production and water quality and determine the dike construction. Number 17. Explain the different aquaculture system analysis of all the aquaculture system. Farming system are also deserves, for example, including water-based system, cage and pens, inshore and offshore. Land-based system, rain ponds, irrigated or flow-through system tank, and raceway. Recycling system is a high control enclosed system or often the pond-based circulation. Number 18, last question is explain how a circulating system works, what the critical things to be considered, maintained. A circulation system is in a pathway simple from the outlet of the fish tank, the water flow to the mechanical filter and further on the biological filter before it's aerated and stripped of carbon dioxide and returned to the fish tank. This is the basic principles of circulation.